The sun cast golden light upon the Bodhi tree, its leaves whispering wisdom in the gentle morning breeze. Buddha sat with serene composure, his gaze resting upon his gathered disciples. They waited in quiet reverence for his words. You seek wealth and prosperity, Buddha began. Yet, true abundance is not found in gold, but in virtue and wisdom. The disciples nodded, their hearts open to the lesson. Consider the farmer who scatters seeds, Buddha continued. If he plants without care, his fields yield little. If he nurtures them, abundance follows. Ananda, always eager to learn, asked, Master, how should we invest our wealth with wisdom and virtue? Buddha smiled gently. Wealth must serve life, not exploit it. Invest in that which brings harmony, sustains others, and alleviates suffering. But how do I still the mind? Master, the thoughts do not cease. Buddha picked up a small stone and dropped it into the pond. A disciple raised his hand. How do we discern righteous investments from harmful ones? Buddha closed his eyes briefly, then spoke. Ask yourself, does this trade bring peace or suffering? Does it uplift or oppress? The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, their minds tracing the implications of the teaching. Right livelihood, Buddha continued, is the path to both spiritual and material prosperity. A noble heart creates wealth that nourishes many. One disciple, a trader, hesitated before speaking. But Master, competition is fierce. Can virtue thrive in the marketplace? Buddha met his gaze with compassion. Profit gained by greed decays. Profit earned through honesty and service endures beyond lifetimes. The disciple bowed, a new understanding settling in his heart like a well-planted seed. Buddha pointed to a sturdy tree nearby. A tree with deep roots withstands storms. A man grounded in virtue prospers despite hardship. The leaves rustled, affirming his words with the wisdom of nature. The disciples watched the interplay of light and shadow upon the ground, reflecting on their choices. Greed blinds, Buddha said. It turns wealth into chains, binding the soul. Liberation lies in generosity, in service, in righteousness. A monk who once handled money for his village asked, should we give away all we have? Buddha shook his head. Wealth itself is neither good nor evil. Its virtue depends on its use. The monk exhaled, relieved yet contemplative. If you possess gold, Buddha continued, let it flow like a river, nourishing, sustaining, bringing life wherever it passes. A woman, skilled in craft, asked, what if wealth is earned through labor and creation? Buddha smiled. To create with integrity is a noble act. Let your works be honest, bringing joy rather than harm. The woman bowed, pride and humility woven into her expression. Buddha rose, his robe shifting with the movement. Wealth is impermanent, but goodness endures. Invest not only in material gain, but in virtue. The disciples absorbed the lesson. Their thoughts stirred like ripples in a tranquil pond. A young man stood. Master, how can we ensure that what we build lasts beyond us? Buddha placed a hand upon the rough bark of the Bodhi tree. Plant seeds of kindness. What you sow today will shelter others tomorrow. The young man nodded, committing the wisdom to his heart. Buddha stepped forward, the dust of the earth beneath his feet. A wise investor does not seek mere wealth, but prosperity that uplifts all. The disciples watched as Buddha turned toward the horizon, his presence as unwavering as the truths he shared. Walk the path of ethical prosperity, Buddha said. In giving, you receive. In serving, you thrive. The sun lowered, its rays casting warmth upon the gathered followers, sealing the lesson with golden light. Another day, the sun rose, casting golden light over the monastery. The disciples gathered, their minds filled with questions and uncertainty. Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, watching the river flow. His gaze was serene, his presence a beacon of peace. One disciple spoke, his voice carrying the weight of doubt. Master, how should we approach the exchange of wealth? Buddha smiled, eyes tracing the movement of the river. Wealth, like water, must flow. If it stagnates, decay follows. The disciple nodded, contemplating the words. But should we seek profit? Or is renunciation the only path to purity? Profit is not impurity, Buddha answered. Attachment is. Let wealth serve, not enslave. Let it nourish, not consume. The disciples listened, their thoughts shifting like leaves upon the wind. They sought clarity, yearning for wisdom beyond material gain. Another disciple spoke. Master, in the marketplace, competition is fierce. Traders seek advantage, sometimes through deception. How do we maintain integrity? Integrity is like a steady flame, Buddha said. It cannot be extinguished by falsehood. Truth sustains itself, while deception crumbles. A merchant among them looked down, reflecting. But if deception brings fortune, does not success justify the means? Buddha shook his head. A palace built upon sand will fall. Wealth gained through harm carries suffering within its foundation. The merchant sighed, burdened by understanding. Then how does one engage in trade without losing sight of righteousness? Buddha picked up a small pebble and dropped it into the water. Ripples spread outward, their pattern reflecting balance. Let trade be like this stone, Buddha explained. Let the ripples reach far. Yet let them bring harmony, not chaos. The disciples remained silent, absorbing the lesson. Their minds turned toward their own dealings, questioning past decisions. A farmer among them spoke hesitantly. Master, my harvest sustains my village. Yet I fear scarcity. How do I ensure balance? Fear arises from attachment, Buddha said. Scarcity is not in grain alone, but in the mind that clings to possession. The farmer nodded. But worry lingered in his heart. Must I give freely, even when I risk my own loss? Giving is not destruction, Buddha replied. It is renewal. That which is shared multiplies. That which is hoarded decays. The wind rustled the trees, whispering ancient truths to those who listened. The disciples watched Buddha, waiting for deeper wisdom. Buddha stood and walked toward the riverbank. Come, he said, gesturing. See how water gives, yet never runs dry. They followed, watching the current move without resistance. The water accepted all. Fish, leaves, fallen twigs, yet remained unchanged. This is balance, Buddha said. To give, yet not diminish. To receive, yet not consume. To flow, yet not be bound. One disciple bent down, cupping water in his hands. If wealth should flow, should we never hold on to it? Buddha smiled. Hold it, but do not grasp it tightly. Let it nourish your hands, but do not let it define you. The disciple let the water slip through his fingers, feeling its coolness vanish as it returned to the river. Another day, the disciples gathered once more. Their minds had shifted, their perspectives altered like the course of a river. Buddha saw their transformation. Tell me, he said, what have you learned? One disciple bowed deeply. Master, I see that wealth is not the goal. It is the means to serve others. Buddha nodded. Yes. Wealth is neither virtuous nor sinful. It is the intention behind its use that creates consequence. Another disciple spoke. Master, deception weakens the soul. What is earned through honesty will endure, while falsehood leads only to emptiness. Buddha smiled. Indeed, truth builds foundations that do not crumble. Integrity is the stone upon which lasting prosperity is built. A merchant stepped forward, conviction in his voice. Master, I will no longer chase profit blindly. I will ensure my trade serves life, not greed. Buddha met his gaze. Then you will find peace. For the path of right exchange leads to harmony, not suffering. The disciples sat in quiet reflection, their minds filled with understanding. The lessons had taken root. growing like trees in fertile soil. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows upon the earth. Buddha stood, his silhouette merging with the evening light. Wealth, he said finally, is a tool. May it build, not destroy. May it uplift, not oppress. May it serve, not enslave. The river continued to flow, its course unchanged, its wisdom eternal. Another day, the disciples sat under the Bodhi tree, awaiting the Buddha's words. The wind carried whispers of wisdom through the leaves. Buddha gazed at the horizon, his eyes reflecting the golden light of the setting sun. His voice carried the weight of truth. Many seek wealth to build a legacy, he began. But a legacy of gold will fade. A legacy of goodness will endure. A disciple stepped forward, his brow furrowed with concern. Master, must we forsake fortune to ensure a righteous path? Buddha shook his head gently. Wealth is neither virtue nor vice. It is the heart that wields it that determines its nature. The disciple listened, contemplating the meaning behind the words. But how do we ensure our fortune does not corrupt our intentions? Buddha picked up a handful of earth, letting it slip through his fingers. Like soil, wealth must nourish, not suffocate. It must serve. Another disciple asked, should we seek to grow wealth, or let it come naturally through fate's course? Buddha smiled. Effort shapes destiny. The wise cultivate wealth as a farmer tends crops. Mindfully, ethically, never with greed. The disciples absorbed the lesson, watching the light dance upon the monastery walls. The moment felt timeless, wisdom unfolding before them. A merchant sat in contemplation, his thoughts entangled with uncertainty. Master, if wealth can serve righteousness, how do we measure its rightful use? Buddha gestured toward the village beyond the monastery. See the homes, the children, the elders? The true measure of wealth is its impact. The merchant nodded slowly, his understanding deepening like a river after the rains. Then we must seek to uplift rather than hoard? Buddha met his gaze. Yes, the hoarded coin is barren. The given coin brings abundance to all. Generosity multiplies fortune, fear diminishes it. Another day, the disciples gathered again, the air rich with the scent of blossoming lotus flowers. Their hearts yearned for more teachings. A farmer spoke, his voice carrying the weight of years. Master, I have given freely, yet I still fear loss. Is fear inevitable? Buddha turned his gaze toward the sky, watching the clouds drift. Fear binds the heart. The free heart finds joy in giving, not in keeping. The farmer bowed his head, reflecting on his harvest, his choices, his trust in nature's cycles. Then letting go is the key to peace? Buddha nodded. Clinging breeds suffering. Release brings liberation. What we share returns in ways unseen, carried by the Dharma's gentle hand. A monk, young and full of questions, stepped forward. Master, does a righteous legacy require sacrifice? Must one suffer to leave behind meaning? Buddha placed a hand upon the monk's shoulder. No true legacy is born of suffering. It is shaped by wisdom, kindness, and mindful action. The monk's eyes widened with understanding, the path before him becoming clearer. He felt the weight of his expectations lifting. The prince asked scholars, artisans, warriors. Buddha says, how do I make my kingdom unchanging? How do I keep my power forever? The question lingers in the air, heavy with longing. A trader, who had once sought profit above all, spoke with newfound humility. Master, wealth can serve life, but how do we ensure it lasts? Buddha lifted a fallen leaf, holding it between his fingers. Wealth lasts as long as it serves. When it ceases to give, it decays. The trader swallowed the truth, realizing the emptiness of his past pursuits. Then our legacy should not be measured by gold, but by our deeds? Buddha nodded. Yes, the hand that gives lasts beyond lifetimes. The hand that grasps is forgotten with the passing wind, the trader bowed, accepting the wisdom like the river accepts rain. His heart felt lighter, his purpose reshaped by the teachings. Another day. The sun dipped behind the hills, casting long shadows. Buddha sat in silence, waiting for the final questions to arise. A disciple spoke, his voice filled with longing. Master, we have learned much, yet I still ask, what is the true treasure? Buddha smiled, his presence radiant with peace. The true treasure is the wisdom we share, the kindness we plant, the love we leave behind. The disciples sat quietly, feeling the depth of his words. The evening wind carried the lessons far beyond the monastery walls. Wealth fades, Buddha said. Buildings crumble, gold is lost, names are forgotten. But compassion is eternal. That is the true legacy. The river continued to flow, its current carrying forth the wisdom of generations. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.